Hey everyone, time for Scrabble. I've got the Q with a U, which is good. So I've got Quim and Quip. I'm looking to see if I've got a 5-letter play, and I can't see one. I'm going to play Quim because Quip has more hooks. Not a good rack leave. And not a good pickup either, but I do have a vowel, so I should be able to play my way through this. A play of grew would help to sort the rack out. G, W and F, not good tiles. If there's a floating O, I could play Gauf, which would get rid of all of them. Can't do that with a U or an I. Not much I can do with the board as it stands. £19 points for my opponent, and he's provided some more vowels, so I could play grew through this E. I could play few and F. Or I could play wedge. Let me see what wedge looks like. This helps to obscure the triple word square for my opponent. 20 points. I'm just wondering about wedger, but the R's quite bingo-y. So it's, even if wedger is good, it's not a bad move. Retaining it. Not too happy about placing the E next to a premium square. It makes column 12 down here quite hot. Well, I think I will go for this. My F or P can go on that spot. And if my opponent takes it out, he may be opening up row A. Well, still not great, but I am getting by on with single vowels, which is good enough to keep scoring. So I've got Frey, which at the moment plays in column 12, making ye and or. I don't have an I for going after the Q. I do have an S, which I could put on the end of wedge. Well, yes, I could play raspy across here. That would be pretty good. Great, so I've got two high-scoring plays. It's unlikely that both will be blocked. My best rack lead would probably come by playing Fry. Okay, so my play in column 12 has been blocked. Nice bingo by my opponent. I can play raspy. Still retaining the troublesome F, but 49 points is a good score. Not a good pickup. I'm a long way from a bingo. I could play Gowd at a 8 down, but that's retaining duplicate R. Not a wide open board. I'm wondering if underlier is good. Not sure about that. My G could go above or below the U of underlie. So I could play frog in that spot. It would be nice to get rid of the W as well. So what else is available here? I have an O for going in front of BI, so I could play frog across here in row F. That would score a reasonable amount. Keeping WIR, not a dreadful leave. I'm just 8 points ahead, but my opponent's on turn. So that lead is going to be short-lived. Now I have an I for going underneath Q, so I could play Frig, Chi and Ugg, keeping W-O-R. Great, and that stays available. Only 28 points for my opponent. So let me see what these alternatives score. Frog 27. Frig 26. Still quite a lot of O's and I's out there. I think I will play Frog. It provides fewer opportunities for my opponent. 27 points. Gosh, another dreadful rack. Fortunately, my opponent is not steaming ahead. Now, this might be bad enough to change. The UW combination is pretty grim. It's going to be hard, if not impossible, to sort this rack out in one. However, I could play Jeered at A8 down. 36 points. That would be better than changing. Through an E, I would have Juicer. Still not sure of Underlier, but I can't use that to good effect this turn, even if I was sure of it. And I can't really use the QI hook either to good effect. This board is blocked. A few bingo lanes, which, given that I've got a dreadful rack, is quite good. It means my opponent is less likely to be able to play a bingo. Although there are still bingo lanes available, row C and row I, but they involve multiple overlaps. I could play Curry in column 15. Only 13 points. What else is available? I'm looking in column 11 to see if I can play through ER and reach the... Wow, nice play by my opponent. He does find a multiple overlap. I think that word's good. I'm going to challenge it to be sure. Yep. Now, my opponent does have a big lead, and I have a lousy rack. But I could play Rick with a W in column 1. That's going to score enough to be better than changing. $42 points. Well, my rack is improving. I'm only 30 points behind. I've got Juve on my rack. That would completely sort out all my problem tiles. Nowhere for that. Ah, column 2, Juve and we. And column 4, through the eye of Konini's, I could play Jived. It keeps the U, but it's going to score quite well. Great, so I've got 2 places. And the place which plays off the U remains available. And finally, a half-decent rack leave. 33 points for Juve. Only 22 for my opponent, so I am gaining on him. Just pausing in case there's something much better that I've missed. 15 minutes on my clock. No, I think this is fine. Well, this is looking close to a bingo. But not many bingo lanes on this board and not many floaters. The M is my scoring tile, and I'll be looking to play off an I as well. I've got an O for going after J. But I can't use that and play off an I unless I just played IO, and that's not going to score enough. Now I need to consider column 15. I've got an I for going after the X. So a 6-letter play beginning with I would reach the triple word square. I can't see such a play. Now, another floater provided by my opponent, or two floaters, the C and the O. Can't see anything through the C. Only 21 points for him, which is good. He's not zooming ahead. He's 42 points in the lead. Now, what can I do with my M? I'm just, again, wondering about underlier. I've now got an over going in front of the W. Just not sure of it. I'm struggling to see a good play here. I've got Milor and Milord on my rack, but nowhere for them to play. Well, unless I play through the O. Let me see what this scores. Oh, horrible rack leave IO. I could play, well, Imido down here. Not great keeping LR. I could play Milo in column 11. Only 12 points, that's pretty dismal. 13 minutes left, 33 tiles in the bag. The M is usually quite a good tile for scoring with. It's keeping two eyes, but let me see what this scores. 29 points. That is a lot better than anything else I've seen. Only 3 eyes in the bag, so I may be fortunate and not draw a further one. Great, I don't. And this looks pretty good. I have blocked a bingo, verticil, by playing Dom. I'm 13 points behind. There's probably quite a lot of 8 and 9 letter words with this rack. I can't see a 7. Now, does verticil have an anagram? 45 points for my opponent. That's a great score for him. Again, I've got the I for going after X. And I've got the Y here for bingos ending in Y. And I've got ILY and LY as endings. If I had drawn another I, I could have had virility. That would have been good. 12 minutes on my clock. I certainly need to play off the V. It's hampering my bingo prospects. And because I'm behind by 60 points, I'd like to open the board up. Row L is a bingo lane at the moment, but if I played down from the Y, I'd be creating lots of floaters. 25 tiles in the bag. Where can I play this V? If I played off just the V and the I would have a decent rack leave. Now, I have got Vitex across here. Not a great score, but it's keeping the bingo lanes open. It's keeping row L open and row A. Not a great rack lead, but the remaining tiles are pretty bingo-y. And by playing off 4 tiles, rather than the 2 of just VI, I'm increasing my chances of drawing the blank. And still quite a few E's left. I hope I have not missed a bingo with this rack. Is this really the best I can do with my rack? What about playing down in column 2 if I had a play beginning OV? Which I do. I have overlit. So, 23 points for Vitex. This is going to, well, 36 points, definitely worth doing, I think. This is going to make the game more volatile, but volatility is good for me because I am behind. Right, well, that's one rack that can arise from volatility. 4 O's. Gosh, that's awful. I've drawn all of the remaining O's in one swoop. Obviously, the Z is a good tile, but I'm going to struggle to sort this rack out and the bingo. And with the remaining tiles, my opponent could well now have a bingo of his own. So I'm not in great shape. The O's, however, do go well with the Z. Now, I could play Zoo in row B, but that's only playing off 1 O, and I think it's a priority to play off 2. Great, only 19 points for my opponent. That's good. What I'm thinking of doing is playing Zoo down here. 29 points, which is okay. That's going to take me up to 290, just 10 behind. My opponent is probably going to play through the Z, keeping this bingo lane, row L, open. But it's just so easy for him to score 30 or 40 points. Is there somewhere a bit smarter? I can play my Z. Through a U, I would have Uzo. Maybe it's worth changing. Given how bingo-y the remaining tiles are. Zoo in column 14, the one I had on the board, 29 points. I think that's going to be better than changing. And, for example, if my opponent does bingo, I would be able to score off of that Z. But is there really nowhere else for Zoo? 8 minutes left, 16 tiles in the bag. Through an R, I would have Trues. Through a Z, I would have Zuzu. Zoot is also good. I can't use the Y of Absy. Well, I think Gosh, is this really better than changing 29 points? This is blocking the C as a floater. 7 minutes left. Where else can I play the Z? I could play Zooty in column 15. 27 points, which is only taking out the Y. And that provides absolutely nothing for my opponent. The T was helping my rack, but there are 2 Ts to come, and this is playing off 1 more tile. A lot of vowels out there. 11 out of 23. So I really need to be lucky and draw consonants. And even then, I'm not in great shape. I think this is better than zoo and woe. Great, I draw the blank. I'm 14 points behind. And now if I played off I-O, I would have a very bingo-y rack. Great, and only 17 points for my opponent. So he's not zooming. 10 tiles in the bag. I could play I-O and Xi, creating a new bingo lane for bingos ending in S. Now, do I have a bingo with this rack as it stands? Isotopic would be through the C if it was in a different spot. Don't quite have co-pilot. 5 minutes on my clock. This looks pretty close to a bingo. What would a bingo look like with a C towards the beginning? Close to Scotopia. Now, any other floaters I need to consider? There's ER, so I've got Perry as a prefix. Can't see anything there. A word beginning NA? No, don't think so. Wow, that looks close to a bingo. What about these letter sets at the bottom left? A word beginning AL? No. LI? ET, unlikely. So I think I've considered everything. So it's a case of where do I play IO or POI? Poi. Well, this was my first thought. I'm inclined to play this because time is short. This is opening up an opportunity. And it's keeping the C free, and well, this looks quite a good set to go with the C. And the H goes well with the C as well. I think, oh gosh, is ophitic good? That would play in row L. I've got litho as a prefix in row N. But I think the C is my most bingo-y prospect. Except ophitic may be good in row L. Ah, my opponent has gone in that spot. Only 1 tile in the bag. And he's now about 100 points ahead. So I think this game is lost. 3 minutes on the clock. Do I have anything through the C? Just running through the alphabet. Not a great deal of time to do this. Hoplitic. Does hoplitic have an anagram? Can't think of one. Photinic. Well, it's likely to. There will be quite a few bingos ending IC which won't play. Can't see anything there. Or there. This isn't looking too good. Okay, so one tile in the bag. Do I have a bingo beaning ET? Can't see one. Ophitic doesn't play in row M. But a 7-letter play might. A different 7-letter play might work. Well, I think I am just going to play off one tile. See what happens. Not a good pickup. Can't see anything through the C. And I can't see a 7-letter play which plays in row N. So not a good spot to be in. One minute on my clock, 10 minutes on my opponent's clock. So what to do, and what to do if I can't bingo, which I don't think I can. In a losing situation, you're looking to minimize your losing spread. So my P and my H are scoring tiles. My opponent will be playing out in 2, I imagine. So I've really got just one play left. Gosh, I wonder if there were any bingos through ITA in column 4 with my last couple of racks. Okay, 1 minute left. Probably my highest play would be in row O. So what have I got? I could play Doth. 1 minute left. I don't think I do have a 7-letter play with this rack. Well, there may be something better here because I'm not overlapping the H. But I think I've had enough for this game. Nine minutes on my opponent's clock. He's got ER. Plenty of places to play those tiles. Pass to end the game. And the final score, 349 to me, 442 to my opponent, a winning margin of 93 points for him. So well done to my opponent. Let's see what I missed. So it was me to go first. I think Quim was fine. My opponent's rack, he played Butene, and this was my rack. Few for 32 keeps 4 clunky consonants. Grued, that's quite nice. What did I do? I did wedge. Yeah, and I think the rack leave justifies the point sacrifice, but probably not much in it. Nice rack for my opponent. He has a choice of bingos and plays Underlife 72. He could have played it for 86. D11. Ah, it's a double-double through the E of butene. Okay, now this was my rack. Raspy, that looks best. My opponent's rack, he plays Pax. Now I was choosing between Frog and Frig, and both of them look like they're fine. Now, great bingo by my opponent. Kanini's the only one playable. Unfortunately, now I don't have a great rack, but Rick looks best. My opponent's rack. Did he have a bingo? Wow, look at that. Laceration, D11 through L and ER. Fantastic. My rack. Juve, B2, that looks fine. My opponent's rack. He plays Cond. Now, my racks start to improve, but I didn't manage to get a bingo down. And there wasn't one with this rack, and Dom looks fine. I'm just looking down here. The first one, which doesn't keep a duplicate I, is Moldier, keeping ILR, but I think Dom is the best of the choices on offer there. Now, great move by my opponent, Absy for 45 points. He took a 60-point lead. But I had a pretty bingo-y rack. Did I miss one? No, I didn't, and Overlit looks fine. My opponent's rack, he plays Ale, and this is where my winning prospects really nosedived. Having played Overlit, I was dependent on a good draw, and I got this, 4 O's. It's possible that changing would have been better, but look at the rack leaves here. They're all pretty awful, but 27 points for Zooty, or 29 for Zoo, I think is better than changing. I think the only way I'm going to win this game is to keep scoring and to bingo. That would take computer analysis to check. Now my opponent's rack, he didn't have a great rack. He plays EE. And what did I miss here? Well, not a bingo, but Epi Zooty for 63. Wow, I didn't think Zooty had any 3-letter front extensions, but there is one. Epi Zooty, that would have been good. And that would have taken me into a 30-point lead. And everything else was dismal. I played IO. And my opponent had an Agatize, which he would have had even if I'd played Epi Zooty. Now, what did I have here? Well, still Epi Zooty for 63, which would have taken me to 30 behind. It wouldn't have been enough. The game was lost at this point. Sayathi, nice play through YA, albeit burning the blank. I played GI. My opponent plays Alpha. And there was a bingo here. Typhoid for 107. Wow, that would have been fabulous. Typhoid, would it have been enough? 107 would have taken me to 410, 11 short. Wow, it wouldn't have been enough, but it would have been pretty good to have spotted and gotten down. So well done if you spotted that. I didn't. And it looks like there were a few other plays that were better than my Doth for 46. So an interesting game. Always disappointing to lose, but there were some tricky racks in that game, and some particularly tricky racks for a number of successive moves. So still challenging, having to consider those racks and think what is best. So that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed it.